Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me again. Happy to be of service. And reportedly, several injured as officers pepper spray protesters outside ICE facility in Rhode Island. I'm not sure if you guys are too aware of what has been going on, but there's been a lot of commotion and disruption at these government ICE agencies. In the past month, so far, we have seen a car bombing. We have seen guns being shot. Well, yeah, I should say bullets being shot at in ICE agencies' offices. And now we have these protesters over here blocking trucks. So let's read the story. Chaos broke out at the protest of an immigration and customs enforcement facility in Rhode Island. Late Wednesday, when a truck tried to drive through protesters and corrections officers ended up pepper spraying the crowd. The protest outside the Watt Detention Center in Central Falls, Rhode Island, less than 10 miles north of Providence, was led by members of the Never Again movement, which likens undocumented immigrants being imprisoned to the treatment of Jews during the Holocaust. Protesters have been organizing outside the ICE facility since early July. About a dozen people were treated for irritation due to the pepper spray Wednesday, while one person was taken to the hospital for a minor injury. Protesters surrounded the pickup truck as it left the facility, with at least one person jumping on the back before the group refused to move. They could be heard chanting, "The whole world is watching," as officers repeatedly asked them to move back. After about 45 seconds, at least one correctional officer is seen unleashing a large cloud of pepper spray, sending the dozens of protesters scattering. The person driving the truck was not an ICE employee, an official told ABC News. Every time we ask ourselves, would I have done something during the Holocaust? Would I have done something? Protester Jack Silverman told WLNE. I want to make sure that when I tell my grandkids this is what was happening in the United States, and they say, well, what did you do? I need to say that I did these things, and this is how it helped, because I wouldn't be able to live with myself otherwise. The group Never Again released a statement saying, "Last night we experienced a small example of the violence that ICE uses against our immigrant neighbors every day. As Jews, our families taught us the lesson of the Holocaust, and we promised that we would speak out and act if we ever saw a group of people being targeted, dehumanized, and rounded up. We are answering the call of our ancestors to sound the alarm. Never Again is now. Every person in the United States needs to join the fight to close the concentration camp, shut down ICE, and secure permanent protection from all undocumented people in the U.S." The protests had been peaceful throughout the night until just before 10 p.m. Correctional officers came out and physically pushed us out of the way and then pepper sprayed us, which is burning my face right now, protester Jared Goldstein told WLNE. 18 people were arrested at a protest by the same group outside of Wyatt Detention Center on July 2nd. Okay, so these people are claiming that rounding up illegal undocumented aliens, migrants, in the United States equates to what they were doing with the Jews. Hitler declared Jews as being illegal when they already were legal. The difference here is these people should never have been in our country. We never invited them in. They came on their own accord and decided to use the benefits of America. I believe in immigration. I believe in immigration. I believe in doing it the correct way. And what a lot of these folks do is not the correct way. So claiming that they're being held in concentration camp-like situations, I disagree. You may have a detention officer that abuses his power, just like you do with every sector when people have power. People in positions of power tend to abuse them. Not all the time, but some people do. I don't know of any bad apple that has actually been accused of being bad. But I'm sure there are some assholes. There's always going to be that asshole who abuses his power, who thinks what he says is bond, and he's going to create disturbances. But generally nowadays they're fired. Unlike before, back when I was growing up, they weren't fired. They were promoted. So that's the huge difference. So saying this is like What they were doing in Nazi Germany is ridiculous, and it's absolutely asinine. And this guy is crying about being pepper sprayed, but you were obstructing a vehicle from leaving. And I am sure that person in the vehicle felt very threatened with his truck or her truck being surrounded by a whole bunch of people, especially with what we know that has been going on around the ICE facilities. Shots have been fired, bombs have been detonated, and now you're piling onto somebody's truck. I would be careful if I were out there protesting, if I were you. I mean, protesting is always a good thing. If you don't believe in ICE, that's great, that's good. If you want to change the laws on immigration, do it correctly. But this is completely asinine, what has been going on. Completely uncalled for. Well, thank you for joining me on this segment. And this was ABC Action News reporting by Mark Osborne. I may be wrong, but what these people are doing, the civil disobedience and how they are taking actions on it, is a very dangerous thing. If they think the government will stop because of what they are doing, they are wrong. The government will not stop removing illegal migrants from our country. But what they will do is they will create more laws and more hurdles, because these peaceful protests that are becoming civil unrests, where they're removing American flags, going onto property, and putting up the Mexican flag, where they're shooting up buildings, they're bombing buildings, there's going to be a tremendous change in authority and authoritarianism. So they better be very careful, because they will be getting what they are condemning very quickly. My 2 cents.
Fox News alert. Anti-ICE demonstrators raising, we're told, the Mexican flag over an ICE facility, a federal U.S. facility in Aurora, Colorado. Let's go now to Matt Morrow from our local Fox station for the very latest there. Matt.
And Shannon, things here outside of this ICE detention facility in Aurora, Colorado, just outside of Denver, have calmed down quite a bit. Just a few dozen protesters left out here, but it's what they did just about a half hour ago that is making big news and headlines tonight. Take a look back there. I know it's dark, but it's hard to see, but you can see they took down an American flag and a Colorado state flag, and instead, as you see in some of this video, they raised a Mexican flag. They also raised an upside down American thin blue line flag that looks like it's kind of dirtied or blown bloodied up. There's also another flag out there with some curse words on it. At one point, there were more than 1,000 people out here. It was a couple hundred of them who went onto ICE's property, broke the rules from what was supposed to be a legal and peaceful protest and vigil. And tonight, we're waiting to hear from ICE about when they're going to take these flags down. Again, no ICE agents out here tonight. Police were away from this area, and pretty much most of the people now have gone home. Shannon?
All right, Matt Morrow on a busy night there in Aurora, Colorado. Thank you very much.
Demonstrators were arrested Sunday in Manhattan during a second day of protests against immigration and customs enforcement. People chanted "Never again" and closed the camps outside Amazon Books in Midtown yesterday afternoon. The protest was organized by local Jewish leaders. They say Amazon provides technology that supports ICE and detentions and are trying to put an end to it. It follows Saturday's protest, which shut down part of the West Side Highway. We've reached out to Amazon and have not yet heard back.
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
All lanes of the West Side Highway were shut down once dozens of protesters sat in the middle of the roadway. Vehicles traveling in both directions came to a standstill shortly after 1 p.m. when hundreds of demonstrators, some from a group called Close the Camps NYC, began protesting the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. Demonstrators say ICE rents some office space here at the corner of 26th Street and 12th Avenue.
We know that ICE is America's Gestapo, and people have come and put their bodies on the line and stopped traffic to tell people it's not business as usual. We have to, and we're at ICE headquarters. They need to know that they're going to be stopped.
Do so voluntarily. No charges will be placed against you.
Dozens of people were chanting as police, using loudspeakers, urged them to stop blocking traffic and move to the sidewalk or be arrested.
The more citizens that stand up and make their voices known, the more other people will listen and start paying attention. And it takes a lot of people to change what this government's doing, but it's really necessary. A lot of people are being harmed.
This woman watched as her daughter was among dozens led away in handcuffs.
I am so proud of her. I love her so much, and I'm really happy that she's standing up and speaking for people who can't be here and speak for themselves.
Other protesters who chose not to get arrested cheered those arrested being driven away to be booked. Do you think you gain sympathy when you tie up traffic for people who aren't involved with ICE?
I think that when you see the reaction of the drivers themselves, yeah, generally when it's for a good cause, I'm pretty sure if we were a group of white supremacists, we would not engender sympathy. But when you see these people disappearing day after day, common everyday people are actually tired of this.
Now, the ICE protest here along the West Side Highway had been planned for more than a month, and members of the group Close the Camps NYC received updates on their civil disobedience direct action on Facebook.